Guys. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about family violence. Because I've spoken to like friends and all that, and some people don't really understand what is and isn't a healthy relationship, what is and isn't family violence. So yeah, I'm just going to start off with a few facts and figures. These are from Australia. So my understanding is like the US, there, I think due to the population, like that, there's probably far greater number than what Australia has. I'm not sure like about the UK or anything. But yeah, so let's get right into it. So these are the key facts. So on average, one woman a week is killed by a current or former partner. I believe the count for 2018 was 69 women all up. So that is, terrifying. That was more than one woman a week. In October, there was like 9 women killed, I think, in October last year. So that's terrifying. So since the age of 15, 1 in 3 women have experienced physical violence. 1 in 5 women have experienced sexual violence. 1 in 6 women have experienced physical or sexual violence by a current or former partner. 1 in 4 women have experienced emotional abuse by a current or former partner. Women are nearly 3 times more likely than men to experience violence from an intimate partner. Women are almost 4 times more likely than men to be hospitalised after being assaulted by their partner. Women are more than twice as likely as men to have experienced fear or anxiety due to violence from a former partner. More than 2/3 of mothers who had children in their care when they experienced violence from their previous partner said their children had seen or heard the violence. Almost 1 in 10 women have experienced violence by a stranger. Between the ages of 18 and 24, women experience significantly higher rates of physical and sexual violence than women in any other age group. So that's some of the key figures. So I wanted to go into what exactly, like the definition of family violence. So family violence is any threatening, coercive, dominating, or abusive behaviour that occurs between people in a family, domestic or intimate relationship, or former intimate relationship that causes the person experiencing the behaviour to feel fear. So family violence is not like an argument once in a while, it's a continuous pattern of abusive behaviour perpetrated by one person towards another, often using multiple tactics. Family violence is not just physical or sexual abuse, which a lot of people I've spoken to were quite surprised by when, like, I am an advocate with Safe Steps Family Violence Response Centre in, like, Melbourne, where I live. And I've done talks on this topic to healthcare professionals and all of that, and some of them have come up to me and said they didn't realise that some behaviours are considered family violence. So it can include many types of abuse, all of which are unhealthy and harmful. So the government in Australia recognises that family violence violates human rights. Family violence is not acceptable in any community or culture. Anyone can be a victim or perpetrator of family violence, but family violence is predominantly committed by men against women, children, and other vulnerable people. And family violence can impact on children's physical, psychological, and emotional well-being. So I'm going to go before I go into the types of abuse, I do want to say I recognise that men can be victims of family violence. And of course they need the support the same as women. I'm just not really an expert in that area, because my understanding is that men, they need a different response than women, all of that. And I am all for ending all sorts of violence. And any men watching this who have experienced violence or are currently experiencing it, please go and seek help. I really urge you to. And please don't think I'm not discounting you. I'm just going by I've had training in violence against women and children, which is that's why I'm talking about it. I might make a video later on violence against men. So, anyway, the types of abuse. So, there's controlling behaviour. So, controlling behaviour is how an abusive person gains and maintains power over someone else. So, controlling behaviour usually starts slowly and isn't always obvious. The abuser may try and justify their actions by saying they're just concerned for the victims or care about them too much. Controlling behaviour tends to become more overt and aggressive over time. So some examples are like, insists on knowing where you are, or who you are with, won't let you go out without them, and if you do, they become angry or sullen. Won't let you see certain people, like extended family and friends, or discourages you from seeing them. This is called isolating, which is a normal tactic of an abuser. Calls you excessively to see where you are or makes you prove where you are. So I'm not talking about say, you get home and your partner's not home and you're expecting them to be home and you call them just to make sure they're okay. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you can receive, 10 phone calls a day, and then they want you, if you've got an iPhone, the Find My iPhone, they want you to make sure you've got it turned on so they can see you are where you are, sort of thing. Goes through your text messages or social media to see who you've been talking to and what you've said. Tells you what you can and can't wear, and stalks you or tracks you using any kind of technology. So quite often there's these tracking, Find My iPhone is one, but there's other apps you can put on phones that track people, so they may use that. There's also then emotional abuse. So emotional abuse is any act intended to undermine someone's self-esteem, intimidate them, or isolate them. So some examples are puts you down all the time or criticises you, calls you names, make you feel like you're not good enough or can't do anything right, blames you for problems in the relationship, yells or swears at you, ignores you, makes you feel guilty if you didn't do what they want, embarrasses you in front of other people, and threatens to harm or kill themselves if you do not do what they want you to do. So the next type is psychological abuse. So in the context of family violence, psychological abuse is when someone makes you or other people question your sanity or recollection of reality through manipulation and lying. This is also called gaslighting. You may have heard that term. It's when something may happen and you bring it up later and they'll say, oh no, they deny it ever happened, and you feel like you're losing your mind. It happens so much, you feel like you're losing your mind, basically. Psychological abuse and emotional abuse often occur as a tandem, so together, and emotional abuse can have psychological impact impacts like causing depression and anxiety. But psychological abuse is slightly different to emotional abuse. So some examples are makes you doubt your own recollections or tells you things didn't happen when they did. Tells you that you're crazy or have mental health concerns. Tells you you're imagining or over-exaggerating their abusive behaviour. Tells you or other people, including friends, police, doctors, counsellors, or legal professionals, that you are the one being abusive towards them when you are not, and you are just defending yourself in response to their abuse or manipulating behaviour. This is sometimes called victim blaming. Telling other people, including friends, police, doctors, counsellors, or legal professionals, that you are unstable, have mental health problems, or substance abuse problems when you don't. The next one is financial abuse. So, financial abuse is also known as economic abuse, is when one person uses money or finances as a means to gain power over and control someone else, or unreasonably impacts their financial situation. So some examples are controls access to your finances, won't let you access bank accounts or credit cards, expects you to pay for bills, groceries and other basic necessities, but gives you little or no money to cover these costs, forbids you from working or deliberately sabotages your ability to get or hold down a job, refuses to work or contribute to family expenses, takes your pay or your Centrelink benefits. For those not in Australia, it's like government assistance. Takes out loans or accrues debt in your name. Files false insurance claims or state benefits under your name. Doesn't include you in significant investment or banking decisions. Refuses to pay or evades child support. Hides assets and incurs fines or infringements in your name, then expects you to pay them. And then there is sexual abuse. So, sexual abuse is any forced or coerced sexual activity by one person to exert power and control over another. An individual act of sexual abuse is called a sexual assault. Perpetrators of sexual assaults are not just strangers. In fact, sexual assaults are most commonly happen between two people who know each other. So, examples of sexual abuse are rape, so any sexual activity that with someone who is not given consent. Not stopping sex if the person you are having sex has asked you to stop. Sexual contact with the other person is unable to consent, perhaps because they are drunk or unconscious. Pressuring or coercing someone into having sex or performing sexual acts. Not using protection when the other person wants to do so. Deliberately causing unwanted pain during sex, unwanted rough or violent sexual activity, unwanted exposure to pornography, and sharing sexual photos, videos, or messages of someone without their consent. And then there is physical abuse. So I do want to go, like, a lot of people know what physical abuse is, but I do want to go a little bit into examples because some people don't realise some stuff are physical abuse. So pushing, shoving, slapping, scratching, biting, kicking or hair pulling. Maiming someone, restraining, example, pinning someone against a wall or a bed. Choking, strangling or shaking. Throwing objects, threatening with a weapon, hurting children or pets. Sleep and food deprivation. And driving recklessly. So there's some examples. Then there's visa abuse. So visa abuse is when someone in a family-like relationship relationship exploits the fact that another person is without permanent residency or citizenship as a way to exert power and control over them. So examples are holding your passport or visa documentation so that you can't access or use it, making false claims about your visa status, for example, saying that your visa status is tied to staying in a relationship, making threats over access to shared children as a result of your visa status, for example, refusing to sign documents relating to paternity, hiding information or providing misinformation about your visa, being brought to Australia on the basis of incorrect visa information, for example, arriving on a tourist visa, then being forced into unregulated work by the perpetrator, and also trafficking, like human trafficking, which I'm sure most of you know. And then there's also technology-facilitated abuse. So that is a form of controlling behaviour that involves the use of technology as a means to coerce, stalk, or harass another person. So some examples are sending abusive texts, emails, or messages via social media, making continuous controlling or threatening phone calls, making someone prove where they are by sending photos of their location, checking someone's text messages, social media activity, or internet activity, forbidding someone from having a phone or limiting who they can contact via phone or internet, spying on, monitoring, or stalking someone through any type of surveillance device such as a tracking system or spyware, sharing intimate photos of someone without their consent, sometimes called revenge porn. So they're just a few types. There's also like spiritual abuse, so using someone's religious beliefs against them, or, there's also, if you say you're bisexual and you haven't come out to your family, they can use that as a threat that they will tell your friends and family if you don't do what they want. So there's things like that. It's very complex. It's a very complex subject. I want to talk more about it because it's such a huge topic. And it's really, it is a huge problem all over the world, really. So what I want to do is just end this video here. I will put links in the description about the sources I used, where you can get help, things like that. There's also, I'll put some links to 1-800-RESPECT, which is Australia-wide, which is you can chat either on the phone or online to a counsellor, and they can help you if you're experiencing abuse. They can also help you come up with a safety plan. So yeah, check them out if you're worried about someone, like a friend or family member who's maybe in an abusive relationship. Some of the links will give you some information and what you can do. There's just some general information. There's some phone lines you can call. So I'll put the links in the description below. If you want to know anything in particular about family violence, please put questions below. I'll do another video at some point trying to answer those questions. I do want to sort of go, because it's a huge topic, I can't do it in one video. This video is already 19 minutes long and my battery's about to die. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. As I said before, I'm not discounting men. So I'll put some links below. Please comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time.